What if Optimus Prime from Transformers Prime let rescue bots Heatwave, Chase, Blades, and Boulder join him in the war against the Decepticons? I'm Thunder, and welcome to this new series called What If?
Muchas gracias, afición. Este es para vosotros. Muchas gracias, afición. Este es para vosotros.
Okay, so how this What If will start is, the rescue bots land on Earth in the same place. Optimus gets the way how we tracked him in the original timeline, but instead of Optimus giving him the orders to stay with the Burns family, he lets them join their fight against the Decepticons. This would change not much in the timeline, but it would give them a little bit more of an edge. That we know they already have lost Cliffjumper, and they already have Raph, Miko, and all the others. And they are very low in numbers right now, unlike when they do in further on when they get all the other guys. So once we start, we already know that the rescue bots do know how to fight. At least Heatwave and Chase both do. Blades definitely isn't a fighter, but he's more of a medic, so he probably would stay closer, and he probably would still fight with them on occasion. But there's no way of telling if maybe they would join. So instead of that, Optimus would bring the rescue bots back to their base. I don't remember where it's located. Oh, don't really have the time to look it up. But if we take that and they take him back to the Autobot base, they already have another base at the Burns family too, if anything ever happened to them. And the thing is, these guys have already worked, the rescue bots have worked together for most of their life because they were a rescue team. So that we do know they also have a ship, and which means they're also able to travel, they might be able to even closerly, because if they have a ship, they're able to do a lot more than they could in the original timeline. Because in the original timeline, they had no way to track the Nemesis. So now they have a ship to do that stuff. But back to the What If. So, Heatwave, Chase, Boulder, and Blades both arrive at the Autobot base. Bumblebee goes and hugs Blades, because they're best friends, obviously. And Heatwave just is kind of just confused, sad, and angry about what happened to Cybertron. And he wants so badly to help Optimus but then they go and search for their vehicle modes. And they basically... So I'm going to actually change Blades' vehicle, because in the original timeline, Blades didn't want to become a helicopter. He didn't want to fly. So I don't think there'd be a... He only got to learn how to fly because he was with the Burns family. So yeah. But he probably would go with more of a land vehicle. I'd say he might go with an ambulance, or he might go with a sub. Or he doesn't look the most bulky, he looks the most skinny. So he might go for just a normal car, normal ambulance, one of those two. I think the Autobots would like Boulder to also lay a lower profile. So he probably would also do maybe like a pickup truck or something. Heatwave probably would stay the same, and Chase would probably also choose a cop car. So yeah, more muscle and more speed for Chase, because Chase is a smarter one with more vehicles and probably would still choose a cop car over all the others. Heatwave probably would still go for the fire truck because, once what he did back home, and he would like something to remember what he did back at home on Cybertron. But once they get their vehicle modes, they go to meet Raph, Miko, and Jack. Heatwave doesn't talk to them. Heatwave kind of just sits and waits for their first mission with Optimus. Chase, Boulder, and Blade both get to know Miko, Raph, and Jack a little bit more. And then then they get an Energon spike, and they think it's Cliff, and then they believe in the timeline they have already established their base, and Cliffjumper had already been dead for a couple months. So this would be around after the Terracon, and right when they're about to go and go stop. I think they'd be around. No, I'm still trying to figure out the timeline a little bit more because I haven't been able to find a concrete timeline. I might have to do that too, guys. If you want that, please recommend it. But what this would be is, since we do know that the message, their ship always detects the message immediately after it's been sent. Optimus wouldn't send the message late, he would send the message early. So that we know Cliffjumper probably is already dead, but the ship probably took a lot longer. So they'd probably be midway to episode 3 or 4, the Terracons. So they wouldn't use the ground bridge, they would use their ship. They would use the rescue bot ship, because it probably just needs a little bit of repairs. And there's already a medic, and there's already a very good engineer with Blades and Ratchet. Ratchet has the welding equipment, and he knows a lot about fixing things. So he probably would help a lot in that situation. But they've never actually fought anyone. So their first ever battle, Heatwave does know a little bit of fighting, and so does Chase. They do the best. And Boulder might be able to pull a couple hits on against the Viacons, but Blades would probably just be too scared. And I think Optimus would realize that and maybe sideline Blades a little bit more and leave him with Ratchet until he finds more footing. Because even Ratchet's too old and probably does need a little bit more help. Don't say he does, because he handled it a lot better. But Blades is also a little bit more gentle and doesn't really. He is a little bit like Bumblebee in a way, team. But, okay, so he probably wouldn't go and join them directly in the fighting. Boulder might, because Boulder would like to defend the plant life there. What do we know about him? He loves plants. He loves living things. And he hates when they're being disrupted. So, what the Decepticons are doing is something he wants to stop. So their first mission, simple mining mission. They see it's Decepticon mining. They go and try to stop it. Then we know it's still midway, so it's probably only. So we do know Ratchet, Optimus Prime go both to stop Megatron at the Dark Energon Surge place, where the graveyard was. And back at base, there's already a bunch of more people, but Heatwave would go with RC and Bumblebee. Because obviously he's a little bit like both of them, and didn't really want to deal with Jack, Miko, and Raph. So Boulder, Chase, and Blade both would stay at the base. But that we do know is that it would still go sideways probably. We'd still know that Agent Fowler would still find out about them because the cord. Don't think much would change. Agent Fowler would still probably find out about the little kids by Jack, Miko, and Raph. But unlike this, I do see where the Autobots might actually let them go, and the Rescue Bots might agree. But I don't think they would still. I think they would still stay at the Autobots, especially Jack, Miko, and Raph. Especially Miko, in particular, because he just wants to see giant robots fighting. But, but Miko is definitely one of those people that would not go with Agent Fowler. So Agent Fowler will leave still, and he'd still get captured. but they both would still get the message. So the rest of the timeline basically plays the same way, just Chase and Blade would still stay at the base, and probably would still Jack and Raph might not join this time, but I can see them possibly sneaking away, and Chase maybe noticing and trying to stop it, but he gets caught up in the portal or the ground bridge. So yeah, they probably would still get dragged into it, and then the rest of the episode plays the same, just chases with Bumblebee, Bulkhead, and RC. And after they basically save Agent Fowler and take him back to a base so he can get healed up, they and then Optimus tells them that they are trying and that Megatron has found dark energy and is reviving the dead. And if you've ever watched Transformers Prime, you know that is something Megatron has been planning for a while. So once that, Heatwave starts to get a little bit more pissed off. Also, Heatwave was with them in that episode. I just realized I forgot to mention that. But we do know is that Heatwave would probably be more angry than any of them. Heatwave does have anger issues that we have seen in Rescue Bots. When anything that ticks him off being a slight bit, he said he'd quit the team. And he almost did unless dang it, I can't remember his name. I can't remember the son in Rescue Bots. I haven't watched it in a while. But, Cody. Yeah, Cody. Cody was the only one who convinced him. Jack wouldn't convince him. Miko probably wouldn't convince him. Raph might be able to convince him, but then again, he's basically like Ratchet. He's not too fond of humans and might just be happy that they leave, but I think he'd still turn around like he did in Rescue Bots eventually. So after that, Heatwave in particular gets more angry than any of the other ones about what's happening to their planet, and what Megatron's planning to do. And it wasn't hit. So after that, they both decide to go grab the ship, their old ship. It's still at the docks in the Burns house. They have it so saved in case the Autobots needed it. But obviously, Chief Burns has it very much more well kept and well hidden, which is under a place where no one even knew besides Cody. So the Autobots would go back and grab that and put it in, and Bob probably would have put it in his trailer and take it back for some quick repairs. Because the ship wasn't that damaged that we know of. It was still able to get into orbit, and it was still able to go back and in a future episode we know that the ship wasn't badly damaged, it just needed a couple quick repairs. And now that Ratchet isn't a human, I still can't remember the human that was with Boulder in the original timeline. But what we do know is that Ratchet's way smarter than that human, and probably knows how to fix a ship, because it was probably still in his magical stuff, and he's also already built stuff. He's built the ground bridge, which is way more advanced than I can say anything. He's even been able to figure out how to work a space bridge. So it's not realm out of possibility that they could fix it. Definitely not. And although it was Optimus that made the space bridge in the original timeline, it was still Ratchet's work in a way, because he already had the frame. So what they would do, they would fix up the Rescue Bot ship, and they would fly there. Ratchet and Blades probably would still stay behind. You can still see Blades staying behind, definitely, and I can see Ratchet being forced to stay behind by Optimus. But Blade probably would go with the kids. So Blades would hide as a helicopter, well, not a helicopter. He would hide as a truck. Because even in Rescue Bots and Prime, they're able to switch their colors. So he would see a truck and he would copy the color scheme. Because I think he's like I would say he'd be a normal Tahoe. A Tahoe, a good family car that it looks like he'd be. So he'd definitely be one of those vehicles. And knowing that the agency mostly used Tahoes, he'd probably replicate their color scheme and color pattern, so he'd match them. And he'd give him a communicator so he could hear, and if anything happens, he would run in there and blow his cover to go try to help them. So, same, but once Raph saw the tentacles that are from Soundwave, he immediately called Blades, and Blades ran in there trying to go help them. But obviously he'd get overpowered by Soundwave, because Soundwave was able to overpower Optimus in some scenes. So what he would do, Blades would get overpowered pretty easily, because he doesn't have much fighting capability. He's more of a medic. Even Ratchet was able to do a little bit, but not much, because he's also not the fastest. So Blades his first priority would be trying to get the kids out of here. So he would transform into his car mode, and he'd get the kids into his car, into a car mode that he transformed into, and he would drive out and call Ratchet to open a ground bridge, saying how they weren't able to get in control of the space bridge, sadly. And that would also play a little bit more of a role, because they've already locked on. They weren't able to stop it, like even in the original timeline, Ralph, they got blocked out of the system, so Ralph wasn't able to stop them. So the space bridge would open, but unlike the original timeline, when Boulder, Chase, and Heatwave both wanted to help Optimus, but Optimus declined. And instead of that, Heatwave ordered the two of his team that were from his group, Boulder and Chase, to go help the others. He would say and help Optimus, because he knows Optimus might be able to handle us, but he wants to be there, and he wants to stop the one that destroyed his planet. So Optimus and Heatwave would both go and attack Megatron. So after Megatron is dealt with, blown up by the space bridge, they both go back on their ship, and they both get out of there as fast as they can. But they wouldn't be able to get to their ship that fast, so Ratchet would have to do an emergency ground bridge right to their location, which is very closer to Earth than anywhere. So they'd have to do the jump that they did in the original timeline, but they'd have to leave their ship behind, which would obviously get blown up, and they would be traveling through there. The ship was the only way they were able to get there. So without their ship, they're basically stranded, just like in the original timeline. But because they're stranded, they don't necessarily have another way to get back, or back up into space and orbit, so they'd be trapped there permanently on Earth, just like in the original timeline. And that's where the first episode kind of wraps up, or the first part of this. I might make this a two-parter, I don't know. It depends on how many people actually like this. If you do like it, please comment and say you like it. Completely your option. You don't have to like and you don't have to subscribe. But I would very much like to see if you guys actually will want to see more of this. Should I do, there's actually another what if I've actually been wanting to do from, mixing the last night's Guardian Nights with Dark of the Moon or Age of Extinction. I might do that sometime later, but I'm not entirely sure. But guys, please go support my sister Fruit, Cyclone, Dart, my other friend got Dark Spider, Brax. I miss him. Brax hasn't been uploading in a while, so that's also concerning. Slime Goo, Spider, and Joseph, or Trans Dragon. Go support those guys. They would love your support. Go comment on their videos. Go subscribe to them if you want. They are amazing, and I'm very glad they're my friends and my online siblings. Thank you guys for watching. Goodbye.